Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today on the bench we have got a couple of tiny little radios here from Baofeng in China called the UV-5R Mini. Now I don't know about you, but when I think of the UV-5R I remember the original classic transceiver from Baofeng, and that was launched way back in 2012, and it went on to be the world's best-selling budget transceiver for amateur radio and other enthusiasts as well, not to mention everybody looking for cheap business radios too. So up until this day they are still a massive seller, and just about everybody I know has had one of those little radios through their hands at some time. So love them or hate them, they're here to stay. And of course Baofeng have moved on since then and produced a whole range of different transceivers, sometimes with very confusing model numbers, and this one is no exception because it's just literally the UV-5R Mini. And although it doesn't really bear much resemblance to the classic UV-5R, they obviously thought it was worthy of sticking the name on it, so that's a good thing. But check out these. Just look at the size of those. These are gorgeous little radios. So if you're looking for something really tiny that fits in the palm of the hand, then this is probably about the smallest fully featured radio that you're going to see for quite some time. Maybe you can't quite get this into perspective right now, but what I'll do is I'll move that one over there. This came as a 2-pack. What I have got is a TID radio, TDH3 Plus, that I reviewed recently. I'm just going to put that there next to it, and as you can see, that was a very small radio, very compact, and this one is even smaller. And also, to give it another perspective, let's just take that one away, and this is the Quansheng TK11, which is absolutely towering above the little UV-5R Mini. So of course different types of radios, but I just wanted to show you how this one looks compared to other radios in its class, and I think you'll agree that the UV-5R Mini is probably the smallest one that you've seen in quite some time. I mean, obviously there are some even smaller transceivers, but if you're looking for something fully featured, dual band, and has all the bells and whistles in it, including Bluetooth programming, then I don't think they're going to get much smaller than this for quite some time. And this one really does pack a punch, which we'll talk about in a minute. So let's just whiz over to the specs very briefly. It's basically a dual band amateur transceiver that you can use in between. I guess you could use it for marine radio possibly, and a few business radio applications as well. But basically 136 to 174 megahertz, including your 2-meter band of course, and 400 to 480 megahertz. But what's surprising about this little radio is that it does put out full power. So it can do up to just over 5 watts of power, and that's on the high power of course, and then on low power you've got 2 watts of power as well. So that's pretty good when you consider the size of this little thing. So you don't get too many things in the packaging with it. There's the box in the background. I'll just put the radio there a second. All you really get in the package is a couple of USB-C charge leads, because there is a USB-C port on these to recharge them up. And you might not have noticed, but I did, there is no proper connector to drop them into a desktop charger. They don't have any gold contacts on the back of the battery packs there. So these are going to be charged directly from the USB-C cable. They're so small that they haven't bothered including some charge points on the back of the battery pack, although theoretically they could do, or they could launch a battery that does have them on. But these battery packs that are supplied just have like a little circle cut out there, and they're just blanked off, so there's no charging direct. So there's no desktop charger for these. You're just looking at charging the radio with the USB-C cables provided. So you get a couple of these in the box with the radios, and the only other thing of note is you do get these lanyardy type things. I think they're a wrist or neck strap. Haven't bothered attaching it to the radio, but you get a couple of those in there too. And that is about it, apart from the user guide. Now the user guide I got in the box with this one actually says GT5R Mini, but they're actually marketed as the UV-5R Mini, rather confusingly. But it doesn't really matter because it's all the same. They do make a version of this which is locked down to GMRS frequencies in the US as well. But for over here in Europe and other regions, this is a fully unlocked version. I believe you can probably unlock the other versions too, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Anyway, there is a nice comprehensive guide there. It's quite well written in English. No surprises, some of the Baofeng radios are becoming a little bit better recently with the documentation and telling us what everything does. It is multi-language as well. There are the main languages in there. including German and French, I believe, as well. Haven't been all the way through. Oh, Italian as well. So you do get quite a nice user guide, and there's a couple of QR codes on the front of this booklet as well, which allow you to download the app for programming the radio from either Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store. So depending on whether you're Android or iOS, will depend on which one you go to. And the app is called Ola Radio, but there is also some other apps that also program this radio, including the original walkie-talkie tool that I showed recently with a few other different radios. So you have got a few options available. You can also program it with a normal data cable using things like CHIRP as well, which is quite nice, which I'll come on to in a second. But let's take a look on the side of the radio. So here you've got dual PTT buttons. You've got an A button and a B button, and you've got a programmable key down this side as well. So some people don't really like the dual PTT. I must admit, I'm not really a fan, but the idea is that you've got two lines of VFO on the display here. You've got VFO A and VFO B, and you can transmit on A or B without toggling the band selector. So if that makes sense, you can just, if you wanted to transmit on the other band instead of the top one, you just press the bottom PTT. But with my sausage fingers, my rather fat fingers that I've got here, sometimes I could accidentally key up and inadvertently transmit on the wrong band. It's probably not going to happen, but it's just one of those things. I'd rather have just a larger PTT, but that's just me. Some people do like the split PTT on the side, but these are rubberized as well, so they are quite good quality. They feel okay, quite positive action on them, as you can see there. And like I say, this one down here is a programmable key where you can assign certain functions to that, such as FM radio and the monitor key to release the squelch, etc. So that's all there is on that side. On this side of the radio you have a flap, and underneath the flap, if I can get into it, here we go, is a standard programming port. So it's a Baofeng programming port, the same as on the classic UV-5R and about 1,000 other radios. So you should be able to find a data cable that programs these up reasonably easily. You can use the software that Baofeng provide, or you can use CHIRP. There is a beta driver available, which I'll show briefly later on. And that seems to be all you need to know, really. However, that's if you're wanting to program using the cable method, using a stock PC or something like that, the traditional method. But there is wireless programming available over Bluetooth, so it's maybe worth looking at the app as well. And that brings me on to something else. There is 999 memories in this radio, which you think, well, that's great, and it is great. However, there is no bank management, so literally all you can do is throw them all into one big list, and you can scan them or add them to the scan list if you wish, but there is no organisation. So once they're in there, it's just one giant list of memories. And it's one of my pet hates about a lot of radios, in that when they don't have the banks or the zones feature, you know, you're given all those memories, but you can't really organise them very well. But I suppose, you know, for the price these things are, they're incredibly cheap, and they are designed to be a miniature transceiver. So moving on, this radio is incredibly lightweight. In fact, it only weighs around 200 grams. That's about 7.1 ounces with the battery pack included, so it's not going to weigh you down. The only thing I don't really like is this El Cheapo belt clip on the back of it here. It is plastic, it will fall off your belt very, very easily. I suppose I've seen better and seen worse as well, but with it being such a small radio, I certainly won't be relying on that. I've actually knocked this one onto the floor a couple of times already trying to clip it onto my belt, and it didn't work too well. So just to warn you. But underneath here, you can see there you've got the battery pack with the USB-C charge port on it on the rear of the battery there. So theoretically, you could charge the battery separate from the radio entirely. So after a little struggle, I have got the battery pack off the radio. This is a 1600 milliamp hour battery pack. So, you know, it's not going to be the longest lasting battery, but certainly for the size of the radio, they have crammed in quite a lot. And it's die-cast body on the inside and plastic on the outside. It does feel really lightweight when you take the battery off there. The battery is half the weight of the radio, I'd say, approximately. So that's 1600 milliamp hour battery pack, and it runs at 7.4 volts. And as you can see there, the belt clip I talked about is attached directly to the battery itself. So that's it. You just slide it back onto the radio like this, and that's it. Just a little release port on the bottom of there. So let's take a look at the front of the radio before we go too much further. So you've got a lovely little backlit keypad. It is quite bright actually. I mean, obviously I've got the studio lighting on in here, but you can see the screen quite well. and you can see this middle button here, this blue button, which doubles up as a torch function. So strangely enough, I think if we just press it on once, there you go, you can see the torch on there. It has the classic torch built in, so that's really good if you're into your torches and stuff, especially when you're getting darker nights now at this time of year. And if you press it again, you get the flashing torch as well. So what Chinese radio would be complete without the torch? I know we've seen a few recently that don't have the torch functioning, but it's good to see it back on a classic like this one as well. So rotary volume control on top is the only thing you've got there as well, but it is a proper volume control. There is no VFO, rotary channel change. You've got to go up and down the frequencies using these arrow keys on the front of the radio. So let's just go back to the keypad there for a second. It's backlit, it's quite well illuminated, and the legends are on the keys quite easily on there as well. So you've got your menu key down here on the left and the exit menu on the right. And just above there, you've got V and M for VFO and memory. Dead easy to toggle between the memories and the direct frequency entry just by pressing that once. As you can see there, there's the memory channel that's in there. And when it's in VFO mode, the display is nice and clear as well. Nice big digits, really easy to read as well. And on the other side, you've got A and B to toggle between the top VFO, which is A, and the bottom VFO, which is B. So as you can see, simple enough to use without going into any menus. They've really thought this one through to make it nice and straightforward. As I said earlier, this middle key toggles the flashlight, but it can also be used for searching for frequencies, a bit like one of those Uniden close call scanners. If we just hold that down a second, it goes into frequency search mode, and if a radio transmits nearby, it decodes the frequency on the display and the CTCSS or DCS tone. So we've seen this done in quite a few different radios, but it's a nice little feature to have in there. So it's got a dedicated frequency search button in the center there. I'm not sure why they didn't make that programmable so you can change its function, because with it being sort of like a central feature of the radio, I kind of like this little blue light around it here. It looks pretty cool, but it's of limited interest to some people, but it is forming part of the design. So if I just press exit to go back out of there now, back into the VFO mode. But as you can see, the display is lovely and clear. When you transmit on a frequency, the little red LED comes on top of there, as you can see. And when you're receiving something, you do get a sort of signal reception bar. It's not a proper signal meter, like a lot of these radios don't really have a full signal meter in them, but it does show there, and it shows the squelch level and everything on there as well. So that's pretty cool. Nice clear display. The only fault I found really is that when you're outdoors in bright daylight or sunlight, it is difficult to see this. Now it looks really bright under studio lighting, and it's perfectly acceptable indoors, but the sun really does play havoc with this display, and it's one of my problems that I've had with a lot of these budget radios, in that the displays are not very good outdoors. But saying that, some of the Yaesus aren't. I mean, I have the you know, the FT5D from Yaesu, and that is also very difficult to see outside with it being a colour screen. So it's not just these sort of budget radios that suffer from that same problem. But again, I've had some radios that are certainly brighter than this one outdoors. So if you're going to use it primarily outside, you're going to find that you do have some issues with the screen unless you sort of shield it a little bit like that. But saying that, it's a good resolution screen. It does look okay for the price. I mean, you can't really knock it too much when you think you're getting two radios in the pack here for a very, very cheap price. But I just love the size of them. Super compact. We'll go to the menu in a second, but I just wanted to show you the antenna. You do get these stubby antennas in the box, and this is a standard SMA female jack, so we can obviously put SMA female antennas onto there. So basically any old antennas you've got kicking around, if you want to improve your reception or transmission on this radio, this works great for 70 SEMS. It's a dual band antenna. It does work okay, don't get me wrong. It does receive well, but obviously it's not going to have the receive capability of a bigger antenna. So, you know, it's designed for to match the size of the radio. Look at the antenna. It's only sort of like 9 centimeters long when it's stood next to the radio. Probably not even that, to be honest, just under 9 cm, I'd say. But you can put any antenna into this port that you wish. I'm going to try it with a high gain one when I go out and about, because what I did notice is it was great on 70 SEMS and PMR 446, but wasn't so great on the 2 meter band, because obviously it's not going to be because of the size of the antenna. But if you're only working short range, it'll be perfectly acceptable. It does receive 2 meters, fine. What I did find is that these radios are very, very sensitive, and they do pick up really well. In fact, there's some of the best reception I've had from a budget radio. The only problem is, with them being very sensitive, at the same time, the other trade-off is that they do tend to overload quite badly. So if you get a strong signal nearby, you're going to find the front end of the radio drops out a little bit as well. So that's one of the trade-offs really. But again, cheaper radios, budget radios all suffer from the same sort of thing, with poor quality front end rejection from strong signals. But I tried this up near a transmitter mast and I was getting interference from it, and it was sucking the signals right back. So that's just something to bear in mind, but that's nothing unusual about this class of radio. Okay, let's take a look at the menu system. So on the menu on this one, very easy to navigate, and it looks familiar to me because I've used so many other radios that have come out of China recently with a very similar menu set. And I've seen this menu system used in a lot of Radtel radios. So there's obviously some kind of collaboration going on between the different manufacturers, I'd say. Certainly this kind of menu is one that you will see in a lot of these modern day Chinese radios. So obviously its firmware is very similar to some of the other ones that are kicking around out there as well. Certainly reminds me of the Radtel, is it RT470, RT490, those type of radios. But I won't go for every feature because they're pretty much the same on all these kind of budget radios. But in radio settings, you can obviously change your steps, your squelch. You haven't got switchable AM and FM all the way through the range. It's only on the AM airband. It's just basically a FM transceiver. You've got Vox, timeout, all the rest of it. Language, you've got Roger Beep, of course, you've got the Roger Bleep. Backlighting, you can get it to stay on like I've done for this review. Looks all good. You can change between a power on image or the voltage being displayed. Dual watch, turn it on or off. When it's on just single watch, you get like a little speaker icon to show it's muted on the other VFO. If you turn it off dual watch, you don't. It just sort of shows up like that really. You can lock the keypad automatically for anybody who's prone to knocking themselves off frequency, or you're giving it to people who don't really use radios very often. All kinds of stuff like that. The usual things, DTMF, PTT, alerts and all the rest of it. The programmable side key, that's this button on the side of the radio here. You can go into that one and you can switch its operation between FM radio, search, scan, Vox, the lamp, SOS, and that's about it really. So yeah, there isn't really that many options you can set on the programmable side key. At the moment mine's just set to FM radio. I was going to set it to scan, which I thought would be more useful, but at the same time, if you go out the menu, you can actually get the radio to scan just by holding down the hash symbol in the corner here. And if I just hold that down, it just kind of starts scanning anyway. I think you can set the scan limits between that when you're in VFO mode, but as you can see, there's no real need to program the other side key with that, so I've kept it as FM radio. And that's the scan rate. You can see it going through the channels there. I think it's on 12.5 kilohertz, or is it 25 kilohertz step? I don't know. But certainly that's the sort of speed it scans at. It's not the best, it's not the worst, it's not too offensive, and that's how it'll work in there. So that's really good. And that's about it really in terms of what you can do inside there. In the menu, you can program everything from the front of the radio. You don't need a computer to do it, or even a Bluetooth phone. You go to program channel, and you can set the frequency, the transmit, power level. You've got two options, just low and high inside there. I'll go back to return to there. Bandwidth, wide and narrow, CTCSS, DCS, channel mode, and also direction of repeater shifts and that kind of thing. Channel save, channel delete, and all the rest of it. So yeah, there's all sorts you can actually do inside there without even touching a computer. So if you're one of those people who's scared of using a computer to program things, if it's the odd occasional channel, you can just go straight into the radio and do it. You don't need the computer to do it. Although really, when you've got 1,000 memories to look after, it is advisable to do it all through something like CHIRP or maybe the Bluetooth software as well. But there you go. That's in a nutshell. That is the menu system. And I think it's pretty comprehensive. You know, there's nothing too special in it. You wouldn't expect it to be really. But wireless CPS is what you need to enable to go into Bluetooth, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Wireless CPS on and off. If you want to turn the Bluetooth on, just select on. And you'll notice that up here in the corner at the top we have got the little Bluetooth symbol as well, so that's ready to make a connection on this radio too. Right guys, I'm going to try and get this little UV-5R Mini to connect up to the Ola app, which is the recommended application on the front page of this user guide here. So this is available for iOS and also Android in the respective stores. So I've installed it, and the only thing I've genuinely done is just registered an account, because with Ola you need to actually register and sign in before you can actually use the programming application, which won't please some people. There are alternatives. There is the walkie-talkie tool, the tried and trusted old-fashioned one that actually still works with this new model. They're still updating that application as well, so there's a few different applications that possibly can do the same thing, but Ola is brand new. So I'm going to fire this one up and see if it works for me. Honestly, I have never tried it before, so let's just fire up with the Ola app. And as you can see, they're hot products. In the bottom corner we've got a thing that says devices, so let's click on that and let's click add device, and it's asking us to find Bluetooth devices, so we're going to say allow, and sure enough it's found a walkie-talkie straight away, which is promising at least. So we're going to connect device, and it says connect success. Now I think we need to select the model number, so we're going to go down here and have a little look for it. There's a 5R Mini on the list, but there's also a UV-5G Mini as well, so I'm assuming that's the GMRS version or something. Let's just keep going down there. UV-5R ham, yeah, there's a few different radios on the list, but anyway, I think the one we want is the 5R Mini. That looks like ours, so I'm going to tap that one, and it says turn on Bluetooth, select the walkie-talkie model, click on pair and connect. Remember, the walkie-talkie must be turned on before the frequency reading and writing and control can be performed. Okay, sir, let's just tap on I agree, pair and connect, and it's saying connected now on the list, so that's quite good. So let's just click on that and go read write frequency, and it's doing something, because I can see now there's a red light on top of the unit, and it seems to be passing some kind of data, but it's saying program on there. So I'll just put the radio back down there. And it looks like the app's trying to do something. It doesn't really give you much indication of its progress or anything. And yeah, let's see if it does. It's certainly trying to read by the looks of it anyway. And we've got the flashing light as well, so that's going to be kind of interesting. We'll see what it does in a second, hopefully. But yeah, this is just one of many programming applications. You can obviously use CHIRP via the cable method, and you can also use some other Bluetooth programmers too, I believe. So yeah, it's taken a little bit of time, this, but it hasn't actually timed out. At least that's one good thing. Oh, there we go. It's actually read. So yeah, essentially it's read all 999 memories, I think, and as you can see, I've got a fair few in here. I've put about 300 memories into the unit anyway, thanks to CHIRP. But as you can see there, it's got the channel name, the channel number, TX frequency, RX frequency, and a whole load of other stuff in there. So you can see there, yeah, it's read all these all the way through. Oh, I see. So you can slide across. So yeah, it's kind of like a modern looking app, really. So you have to go swipes left and right to get to things like transmit, power, bandwidth, signaling. So as you can see, there's an awful lot of stuff that you can do inside there. So if I was to tap on one of these, I don't know, you have to click modify configuration, I think. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you can see there, channel 1, channel 2. Oh, I see. So yeah, so you can click on that and then go bulk settings, channel settings, switch list. Oh, I see. So you can switch between the two. So yeah, this is all very different to the previous walkie-talkie tool app that I've seen. So swipe left to right to view content, tap the channel number to edit. So if we were to tap on one of those, oh yeah, I see. So then you can just edit any of those parameters for that channel, and once you've finished you can write it back to the device as well. So yeah, it looks like it's a good promising start on this new application. The App Store rating on iOS only gets 1 star out of 5 for some reason. I don't know if it's because people have had connection issues or anything else like that, but certainly for me, this is my first attempt at it. It's worked on the first attempt. One of the things that's quite nice is you can adjust all the parameters on this radio. So rather than going into the menu system on here, you can just adjust them on the phone itself to do with transmit, power and bandwidth. And things like the VFO scan range, you can set it to scan between 400 and 470 megahertz there, but we could narrow it down. We could like make it just say 433 to 440 megahertz, which is the UK 70 SEMS allocation, and we could put it into there. So that's kind of handy to be able to just edit all the parameters in one place using your mobile device. And then of course function settings, which are the core of the radio itself, like squelch, Vox settings, backlighting. So yeah, all in all, it looks like a pretty decent app. I kind of like it because it's much more sort of modern looking than the walkie-talkie tool. So I think the developers are getting there with this kind of thing. There's obviously some usability issues for some people. I have heard quite a few negative things about the application, but this is the iOS version. I've not yet tried the Android one. I do have an Android phone as well, so I'm a fan on both camps. I can use both of these, so I might have to try the other application and see how that one works as well. But certainly it's looking promising for a brand new application. So that's essentially how you edit this, and once you're happy with it, you just hit write to device and it'll send all that data back to the unit too. So that's quite a nice little application, I'd say. Well, I did say we'd have a brief look at the CHIRP software using the UV-5R Mini, and the key thing to remember is to download the very latest version possible, because this is still in beta, and of course the driver could change over time. So to make sure you're getting the best out of it, make sure you download the very latest version of CHIRP. Once you've got your radio connected using your favourite programming cable, just go to the radio menu, hit download from radio, choose the correct COM port, choose the vendor as Baofeng and model UV-5R Mini. So let's just do that now, and hopefully it's going to read into the software. So remember, there is 999 memories available on this radio. I doubt many people are going to use all of them because there isn't much scope for sort of organising them with bands, but nevertheless it is very, very handy to be able to do it this way. And as you can see there, it's cloning the radio now, and it hasn't taken very long at all. And there's all my frequencies nicely brought in. And of course I can chop and change things in this very, very easily, much more easy than using the Bluetooth software. So if you've got a lot of stuff you want to program in, such as these frequencies that I've got here, then I would probably use something like CHIRP to do it as well. However, if you're not a CHIRP fan, there is also the official Baofeng radio website where you can download the official CPS software instead. So you've got 3 different ways to do things there. You've got Bluetooth, you've got CHIRP, and you've got the official CPS as well. And that is about it. That's all you need to know. It's pretty much the same as any other radio. You can change all the parameters, including the scan mode, Roger beep settings, VFO, and many, many other options too. So there you go. That's all I need to show you, really. It's pretty much the same as programming any other radio, and this will save you a lot of time. So it's time for everybody's favourite part of the video, the power test, because as you know, in the past some Chinese manufacturers have been known for sort of exaggerating the amount of power that a radio can develop. But in this case I don't think that is true, because these Baofeng Minis really do pack a punch. We're on the 433 MHz band, which is 70 cents to us in the UK, at the bottom end of the range. So I'm going to key down on this on full power and let's see what we get on this trusty Shawcom SW33 power meter. And wow, look at that. We're getting about 5.5 watts there, 5.48, 5.5. Yeah, so we're actually seeing just over 5 watts of power being developed on the 70 centimeter band, and that's on the full power. So that's actually better than expected. So I'm going to now go to knock this down to low power, and let's see what we get then on the same frequency, same band and everything. So let's key down again, and low power is showing around 3 watts. So to be quite honest with you, that's more power than I really expected. So you're getting 3 watts there on 70 cents on low power. So this radio is definitely punching above its weight. It did say 2 watts in the guide and 5 watts. Well, I can confirm that it's definitely 5 watts in a really, really good way. So that makes a change, doesn't it, guys? So let's go down to 145. Whoops, that wasn't 145 at all, was it? It's 145000. So bottom end of the 2 meter amateur radio band, or sort of midway for us anyway in the UK. And I'm going to key down on low power first of all, since the radio's already in low. And we can see there we're getting about 2.7 watts, I think it is, yeah. 2.7 watts of power going out on the 2 meter amateur radio band there. So that's pretty good power output even on the low setting, isn't it really? So I'm just going to go into the menu and go to program channel. Incidentally, even in VFO mode you go to program channel to change the transmit power, just on a side note there. Go back up to here onto high, and as you can see there we're on high power now. Let's give that a try. And again, I'm quite delighted to say that we're getting just over 5 watts on full power there as well. Hopefully you can see that on the camera there. So we're seeing 5 watts of energy going out straight into the dummy load on the 2 meter amateur radio band. So to me that is a really, really good test. nice power output from such a tiny little radio as well. So for a lot of people, you're going to want to use this on the low power setting. Even giving out 2 watts is kind of efficient really into a little antenna system. You know, if you want the extra range, bump it up to 5 watts, but to be fair, you're going to find it lasts a long time on the low power setting, because it's still not really that low power at 2 watts, is it really, when you think about it? But that is really good. So that's your power test. Well, I think what we need to do next is get these out on the air, give them a test, see what they receive like, see what the transmit's like, and also see what the audio quality is like. So I'm going to show you a couple of clips in a minute, including the AM airband reception of this unit, which I'm curious about because some of the other radios we tested weren't that great on the AM airband reception, so it's going to be interesting to see what these guys are like as well. But tiny little radios, let's see how they perform on air. I may put a bigger antenna on just to get a little bit better performance on the 2-meter band, but apart from that, everything is stock, no tricks or anything. Let's just see how they perform. So we're out here in our usual spot, high up on the Yorkshire Wolds, just for a quick test, and just outside of town. And I've brought the little Baofeng Mini with me. This is the UV-5R Mini, and you'll see if I hold this a bit closer to the camera, you'll probably notice that the display is kind of difficult to see outdoors. I mean, you can see it's not impossible, but you have to sort of put your hand around it like that a bit, because it's just not great in the outdoor sort of environment, which is what I was saying earlier on in the review. But I'm going to try making a contact with Paul, M0DPH, who we usually test with, and see what he thinks of this little Mini. So, like I say, stock antenna. I did bring the high gain one with me just in case there was a problem, but I think we're going to be okay on 2 meters. So I'm on high power, which is about 5 watts anyway. So I'm just going to give him a shout and just see what it comes out like. Really bright and sunny this morning, so it's not a bad day for doing a test. A little bit of a breeze getting up again, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. M0DPH G7 UFS testing the Baofeng Mini. Are you receiving, Paul?
M0DPH returning, yeah. Well, I can't fault that, the signal's lovely. It's a good strong S20 plus. Can't go wrong with that at all. The audio's nice and comfortable to listen to. Not too punchy, but yeah, can't go wrong with that.
Okay, Paul, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it seems like a good little radio for the price. I mean, you get 2 of these in a pack for, I think it's about $35, something like that. You know, it's not expensive anyway, whatever it is, but like I say, you get 2 USB charge leads with it. There's no desktop charger with these because they're so small, but do you remember the TID radio you tested with me? This is even smaller than that radio, so I'm impressed. It sounds really good for the little tiny speaker that's built inside it, and incredibly 5 watts output, and the antenna I'm using is only like 3 inches long, so it's a stubby, and normally them stubby antennas aren't that great, are they? So yeah, I'm quite impressed, Paul. Back to you.
M0DPH, yeah, I have a short stubby antenna at home myself. It's an SMA and it's only 2 inches long. It's even smaller still, and they're surprisingly good for what they are. I have actually tried one once before on an adapter and put it on a little mini mag on my car roof, and it works surprisingly well. So as far as handhelds go, I think they're pretty good. But I can't fault that. Like I said, there's a little bit of wind noise behind you. Only a tiny bit, not affecting your audio, but you can tell you're outside.
Yeah, G7 UFS returning. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good news then. Yeah, there's a little bit of a breeze getting up again up here. It's always quite windy, which is good for you anyway with your wind turbine. Like I say, I'll be having a look at the node later on as well. Our local node, MB7IWW. Now it's got a bit of wind power behind it. Should stay up a bit longer. Fully sustainable node. Green energy and all that, you know. But yeah, this radio sounds good. It's got some nice little features built in it. Bluetooth programming, so you can use the little app. There's this app called Ola Radio, and it's brand new. Baofeng have just released it recently, and you can program a number of different transceivers with it. It's not just this radio, you can use it for a few different ones. It looks quite modern for a change as well, which is nice. But yeah, I'm just showing people on the camera anyway how small this radio actually is. It's just incredibly tiny little radio. And you're getting 2 of these in the pack. I think you can buy them separately for about 16 quid each off Banggood and baofengradio.com as well. So it's not bad really, Paul. But yeah, you got dual band. You've even got airband in it. But I'm just going to try the airband in a few minutes because I haven't really tried it yet to see how good it is. But you know, normally these radios aren't too great on the airband. Back to you.
M0DPH, yeah. Well, it certainly sounds good from here. I'll wait to see the video and See what the comparisons are like. What are you using for comparison of size, by the way?
I've used the TID Radio TDH3 Plus, which is the radio I reviewed recently, which is a very small, tiny radio. And I've also put it next to a Quansheng TK11, you know, the Taiko Kong, and also, a Quansheng UV-5R, all them sort of radios. And it's roughly about 2/3 of the size of the TK11, so it's kind of very compact, really. I mean, they weren't big radios in the first place, but this one makes them look quite large. I didn't bother putting it next to the UV-25, which is that massive Baofeng, the one that's the so-called military spec. It'd look crazy next to that. There'd been about 3 of these radios, Paul.
M0DPH returning. Yeah, I know what you mean. Them, the UV-25s are more or less like a house brick. Not exactly good for covert. But no, it certainly sounds good, mate. I can't fault it at all, audio-wise and whatnot. For the size of the radio, you can't really go wrong. You can't grumble. And it's just, it brings, amateur radio more affordable to a lot more people. So, plus not everyone's got a big budget, have they? So, but it's I can't fault it at all, mate. It is good. I take it you can plug a little fizz mic in the side of it.
Yeah, G7 UFS returning. Yeah, you can, Paul. It's a standard K-type jack on the side of these, so you can plug in any of your normal accessories like your speaker mics and everything. So they haven't done away with that port, which is really good. Only thing you haven't got is Bluetooth mic capability, but I didn't expect that for the money, to be quite honest. So it's all good. But I'm just looking around up here, and weather's not too bad anyway at the moment. It's looking a bit cloudy, but a bit of sunshine for November. It isn't bad, really. But yeah, nice little radio, Paul. Like I say, I'm impressed for the money. Can't go wrong. So right, if you just want to take a standby a minute, I'll stop video there. I'll do a bit of airband filming, and I'll be right back to you in a couple of minutes then, Paul, from G7 UFS.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be listening. M0DPH, just listening.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. Catch you in a few minutes. So there you go. UV-5 Mini. I mean, what more could you want? It sounds crystal clear. I mean, only a small speaker in it. It's not going to have the bass or the treble that like a bigger radio does, but it's clear enough, It's one of them radios that fit almost anywhere into any sort of pocket or backpack or anything. And like I say, for the money, you just can't go wrong when you think of what you've got inside this. So I want to do a bit of testing on the airband next, see if we can receive anything. So I'm going to set up in a minute, maybe put a higher gain antenna on for the airband, because this antenna won't be cut for the airband frequencies. It will work with strong signals, but I think we're better off actually trying to run it on an antenna that's a little bit longer, maybe for that set of frequencies. Paul's about 3 miles away from me then doing that test, but he said it was giving him 20 dB over, so that is really good. So yeah, impressed so far anyway. Well, I'm out here in Dalby Forest in North Yorkshire on a nice walking trail. Just look how gorgeous it is at this time of year. Absolutely brilliant in the autumn time. Leaves beginning to fall and turn orange. Looks fantastic. But anyway, we're up here to test out this UV-5R Mini on the AM airband. So I've got it on Scott North. Well, that gives you some idea of what it sounds like on the AM airband. Have a listen. There'll be a few more stations coming in a minute, I think. Kind of distorted. I mean, some aircraft come in better than others do. Depends on the strength of the signal. But as you can see there, it's very similar to the other Baofeng radios. It's not the best on AM airband. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great on the FM side of things, but not so great. Well, there you go. Not too bad at that time, but not so great on the AM side of things. That's the issue. It's like when you get a strong signal, it seems to distort really badly, as though the radio is almost on FM instead of AM. Oh, just listen to that. Yeah, absolutely destroyed it, really. But yeah, it's just one of those things. You see, then it suddenly resolves itself properly. So it's like it could be fixed in software. If they did a software update, I'd imagine. But the issue is there is no software update. And it's the same kind of thing that happens quite often with these radios. There's only one Baofeng that I've seen that works really well on AM, and that's the DM32. But sadly, it could be done with a software update, I'd imagine, or some kind of fix in the code for these, but it just doesn't seem to be forthcoming. Quansheng, well, even they had trouble with it. But they managed to resolve that, or rather the community did, with their custom firmware, that Exuma firmware and some of the other custom firmwares as well. But yeah, kind of difficult really to put your finger on what it is. But as you can see, it's a bit noisy at times. However, the FM, absolutely perfect. It's really a radio for the FM people, this one, not for airband. I wouldn't buy it for airband enthusiasts because you've got no military airband anyway. But you can't switch to AM on those frequencies, even if it did cover them. But I just want to give you a quick deal on what it looks like anyway. But as you can see, it's not bad, not perfect. It's okay for the additional functionality, I suppose, you know, just a bonus really. It does receive aircraft. But as you can hear, it's a little bit subpar really. So that's all I wanted to say on the subject really. So as you can see, a little bit hissy, but that one resolved a little bit better. So it's obviously down to signal strength and some kind of AGC possibly. I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave it there for that one. But lovely scenery up here this afternoon in November. This is G7UFS testing the Baofeng Mini UV-5R. 54321 12345. Audio check 54321 12345. Baofeng UV-5R Mini. Audio check in wide FM 54321 12345. This is G7UFS testing the Baofeng Mini UV-5R 54321 12345. Audio check in narrowband FM mode 54321. This is the audio you can expect to receive from the Baofeng UV-5R Mini 54321 12345. G7UFS. So that's it, the UV-5R Minis. I don't know about you, but I think these are a great value little radio. If you're looking for something super inexpensive to chuck in a backpack, or something that's going to fit in your pocket with a short range, nice little stubby antenna and everything, I can't really fault them. The audio quality was great, the performance was good. I couldn't believe the amount of power coming out of these as well, so that was nice. And also I've been looking at the spectrum analysis tests, and these radios come out pretty clean as well. So for a budget radio, that is a really good plus point, because a lot of the sort of low-end radios don't perform too well when you put them on the spectrum analyzer to see harmonics and that kind of thing, or spurious emissions, but these ones do come out quite well. There are other YouTube videos out there that show those analysis tests and everything, so I'm not going to do one today, but rest assured that these do meet with most regulations for the radio bands and everything, so that's really cool. I think the Bluetooth programming is a neat little feature. It's something that you wouldn't expect at that price range as well. So as I keep saying, you know, for the price range, I mean, I think at the moment there's something like around £30–40 UK money for two of these. They are relatively inexpensive. So, you know, if you're one of those people who goes out doing all sorts of extreme sports and stuff, and you don't want to break your radios and all the expensive stuff, then you can take one of these out with you without worrying too much. They're cheap enough to replace if anything should happen. But that said, you know, I think the only people that wouldn't be happy with this type of radio are the airband enthusiasts, because as you saw from the clips I just showed, the AM airband reception still isn't very good on this type of radio, and it is so frustrating because, you know, there are firmware fixes that they could do out there to make the AM airband sound a lot better, and we've had several generations of radios like this one now where the AM airband reception is subpar, and it's such a shame because I've seen modded firmware on some of these other units that use similar chipsets to these, and they have managed to crack the AM airband and make it better. So if you're interested in listening to aircraft and stuff, I wouldn't recommend this radio, but for just general purpose 2 meter 70 SEMS amateur radio use, inexpensive walkie-talkies, PMR 446 in the UK and Europe, or, you know, like GMRS, anything like that would be absolutely perfect with this type of radio. And I keep saying it, I just can't believe how much they've crammed in for the price. The power output's good as well. The USB-C charging, all A-OK as well. So as I say, I will leave some links in the description as to where you can purchase these from. You can get them from Banggood and also Baofeng Radio, so I'll put links in for both of those two sites as well. There are different discounts and promos on all the time, and I believe you can get them in different colours as well. These ones that were sent to me are in the black, but you can get them in green and yellow, I think, and some other colours too, so look out for those. As always, if you found the review helpful and entertaining, do leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. It does keep me motivated to keep going with these videos. And of course, I am going to be looking at some other interesting gear in the next few weeks. I've got a package from Radiology on the way, and that contains a dual band mobile radio with some different concepts as well. So that's going to be quite interesting. So we've got loads of interesting stuff coming up on the channel. So again, if you liked it, do subscribe, stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video. For now, I'll say goodbye and hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.